What is going on, my super sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I'm joined by Geekdom 101 for some animation talk for Dragon Ball Super. Actually, how do you say Dragon Ball Super in Japanese? The full word. What is it? The full phrase?
Dragon Ball Super. You said it right.
Oh, just Super? Okay.
You gotta say Super.
I thought it was like Chow though. Isn't it Chow or Cho?
Oh, okay. So like, yeah. Okay, now I'll explain that real quick. Cho is like a Japanese phrase for super, but the way that super was created and written out, the series, they're using the American version. You know how the word, yeah, it's like Super Saiyan God is Super Saiyajin Godo,
instead
not
of Kami.
Super Saiyan Kami. Yeah, they integrate our language into theirs. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Today I learned, and I'm sure some of you guys might have learned that as well. Education is fun sometimes, as long as you're not trapped in a school for hours and hours per day, which I know some of you guys are, but you know what? You'll make it through that once you're past school. Today we're going to be discussing animation. Why animation? Because, well, people are just tossing a bunch of questions around. A lot of theories have been going around. Why is animation so bad? Why is it so good? I don't know. It's just a lot of animation talk. And basically, Geekdom and I want to make this video to let you guys know it's not that the animation is bad. It's just the animation has always been like this for Toei. I hate making videos talk about animation, but it's just such a hot topic that you just have to keep addressing it to at least educate people so they can understand what's going on. Toei has always been known for their not so good animation. Back in the day, it was acceptable because there wasn't that much animation or anime going on at the time, so it was kind of average. But if you compare it to today, it's definitely not as comparable as to companies like Madhouse. Now, what's number one is not going to happen. Is Madhouse is never going to take over Dragon Ball. Didn't you have an analogy for that, Geekdom, actually?
I don't remember what the analogy was. Oh yeah, it was like people were saying Madhouse should take over Dragon Ball, and I said that's like McDonald's selling the Big Mac to Burger King. It's not going to happen. And I understand that a lot of the Dragon Ball fans now kind of grew up with the video games and maybe don't understand the business perspective of things behind the scenes, but there are contractual obligations and contractual rights that were signed from Toei, from Toriyama to Toei Shueisha back in the 80s that are pretty much binding contracts. Madhouse cannot just go in there and just take Dragon Ball. Like, in order for something like that to happen, it's going to require a significant amount of money. Disney purchased Star Wars from George Lucas for $4 billion, which might have been the biggest transaction for a franchise that I've ever heard of, certainly.
Actually, before you continue, I want to toss out this random question, just for fun one. If you could put a price tag on the Dragon Ball franchise, what would that number be? Comment it below. Now remember, Star Wars sold for $4 billion, and Star Wars is a massive franchise.
They're making that money back.
Yeah. What would be a price tag for Dragon Ball? Comment it below, but keep going.
I would probably say somewhere around the neighborhood of like $2 billion, because it is very massive. Yeah, I would say maybe less than that. I don't know.
I would honestly aim more for $1 billion, because there's other
$1 billion. Yeah,
$1 billion sounds about right. Maybe less than that even, because isn't Toei themselves worth like $900 million or something like that? They're not worth that much money.
I am not entirely sure. That might be true as well. It might be less than that. Again, I have to look at the international figures for everything, because unlike Dragon Ball, Star Wars is kind of a self-contained thing. Dragon Ball has all these different dubbing companies that have stock in it. You know, like Funimation has to make their cut. Yeah, Star Wars is everything in-house. So it's a totally different thing, because, you know, Toei does not directly pay Schemmel and Sabit. Funimation does. Yeah, it's a whole different. Because you know what? At the end of the day, it probably would be less, but it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And another thing that I will say about this whole like Madhouse comparison is I feel it's very, very unfair. And I'm not defending Super's animation. Very unfair that people are criticizing Super and comparing it to Madhouse for several reasons. Number one, the conditions of working in the two companies is different. Number two, One Punch Man specifically is only 12 episodes, and then they took a break. Super is a continuing series every single week. It's not the same.
Well,
you cannot compare
Before you continue with that, people are going to comment and say, well, Hunter x Hunter is 148 episodes, and Madhouse did that. Again, different conditions, so you can't really compare it, as Geekdom said, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, no other company is going to take over Dragon Ball just because Toei owns it. It's literally Toei's baby. It's like
you would have to throw so much money at them that they would have to say we can't make this money back on our own. And the thing is, another thing people have to understand about the Star Wars comparison is that George Lucas sold it because he was also getting old, and Toei is a conglomerate company. Toei is the Disney of Japan, so Toei would be the ones making the purchase, not George Lucas or whatever. It would be them, not Disney. So it's just not gonna happen. There's petitions. It is not going to happen. It's Toei. it's probably Toei's for the remainder of the existence of the Earth.
And the other thing I was going to toss out there since we're talking about Madhouse, the thing about comparing Dragon Ball to today as opposed to back in the day, because Dragon Ball Z did also have pretty spotty animation and that. I mean, it's the most inconsistent series when it comes down to animation. Like, literally by the episodes, it will change up. We've seen the pictures. There's a lot of comparisons online. You can literally just type in Dragon Ball Z animation inconsistencies, and you'll see the differences on the episode breakdown. I mean, I know Kanzetsu has a huge section for it. But the problem is today, it's just we have so much more better animation as opposed to what we had back in the day. So obviously, if you're watching like stuff like Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, even One Punch Man, and then go back to Dragon Ball Super, you'll think, wow, this is amazing. But again, we're not here to defend the animation or talk about that. We just want to let you guys know how it actually works. The second thing I want to toss out there is there's a big rumor going on in the community that the team behind Dragon Ball Super is saving their budget for the Champa arc, and this is also very likely not true as well. Because again, ultimately what it comes down to is not about the budget itself, but it's just the time when it comes down to doing these episodes. You have literally a week to do an episode, storyboard it, draw it out, animate it, put it all together, and it's like a 5-man team doing every single episode on a weekly basis. That's why the animation comes out so spotty. And usually when they do a DVD release, a Blu-ray release, they tend to go back and fix everything so it looks proper for the rest of the world. So, but technically, by the time we are officially supposed to watch Dragon Ball Super, it's going to look a lot better than it did in the initial run in Japan. Now, again, it just comes down to timing and schedule, and that's probably also why Dragon Ball Super hasn't been announced as an English dub or licensed across the world yet. So that's how it works. That's how it works.
After looking at the Blu-ray clips, they fixed some of it, but there's still tons of issues. Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect. It's far from perfect. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah, it's not. My whole philosophy behind this is the constant complaining week to week about it. Here's my philosophy on it, and this is no disrespect to anybody in the community, but we know the way things are. And if you don't know, if you're listening to this video and you have no idea why, I know you did a video on it. I certainly did a video on it. I did a video where I talked to a guy, Thomas in Tokyo, who broke down exactly what the problem is with the animation budget.
Can you summarize that too, just in case people haven't seen that?
Yeah, and I'll give you the link if you want to put it in the comment section below. It's a pretty big video. If you type in Dragon Ball Super Bad Animation, my video will come up. But basically the way it works is in Japan, all right, the Dragon Ball Super, not Dragon Ball Super, but Toei. First of all, people have to understand this. This has to be talked about. Dragon Ball is not Toei's #1 property, and it hasn't been for a long time. It's One Piece. That's the bottom line. All the major key animators, all of the major in-between animators are going to be working on One Piece. They're going to prioritize that ahead. One Piece does have wonky animation sometimes. I've seen the pictures. But still, in general, they're going to get the most work. One Piece Z did $60 million if you convert it to American. Resurrection F did, I think, 27. One Piece is bigger than Dragon Ball in Japan right now. Point blank. You can't argue it. There's figures that go against that. Mm-hmm. So Toei will always focus on One Piece more. Now, the problem
even One Piece, though, is like up
wonky.
And down.
Yeah, it's wonky. The thing is...
Before you continue, also, let me toss out one last thing. Yeah. When it comes down to it, when Toei really wants to put in effort in their series, they do a good job. Like, for example, Episode 11, the fight between Goku and Beerus was actually, in my opinion, amazing. Animation is awesome. And there's actually also, I believe the next fight between Doflamingo and Luffy in episode 726 is also going to be amazing. Like, if they really want to, they can. But again, end of the day, they don't. So it's not every episode is awful. It's just the episodes that they really want to focus on, they will. But for the most part, it's up and down. It's up and down. And that's the whole consistency thing.
Yeah, and people are taking like pictures of in between frames and putting them up, saying, "Look how bad Super looks." Which again, if you go back to Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, mostly Z, you'll notice that there's a lot of bad in between frames. In between animators don't get paid a lot of money, and in between animation is not prioritized. It's key animation that always gets more priority.
Yep.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're confused about what I mean by that,
basically the screenshots that you guys see. If you see a screenshot being posted around, that's an in-between shot, basically.
Most of them are, yeah. Most of them. I can't say all of them because the way it works, and Kanzenshuu has a whole section going into detail about this, but basically the key animators shoot the main frames and the in-between ones, they write down they draw all of the in-between stuff. So if you see like Goku punching Frieza, the cock back and the punch are done by the good animators, and then the in-between with the fist moving is done by an in-betweener. The in-betweeners don't make a lot of money. In fact, the average animator in Japan makes $10,000 a year American. That's not good money. So in order for these guys to make good money, they have to work on several different projects at once at the same time. To me, not to me, but from the research I've done, the problem is overall Japan and Toei's view on animation. and the fact that they're rushing this, because they are rushing it. I don't know like exactly all of the details week to week, but there's been stories about, you know, shows barely even making air. You know, stories that have been going on where they finish an episode, maybe not of Super, but of like other shows, literally like the day it goes out, which is a very risky thing. That's why Toei outsources to the Philippines. There's just a lot of things going on, and you can sit there and here's my problem. You can fairly sit there and criticize Super and say Resurrection F the movie's better, and you can say Toei is a dirtbag company if you want. It's up to you. But I feel that complaining about it week to week is completely pointless. You're not going to change their minds. You can't do anything. They don't care about you. They don't even have the rights in this country. They don't care about what we think right now because it hasn't even been released here yet. Like you said, there's nothing that can be done. There's just nothing that can be done at the moment. It's unfortunate. And I will say this. I do genuinely believe, based on everything I've seen and heard and read, that the Resurrection F arc of Super is completely a rush job. Not just with the story, but with the animation. Are they saving the good stuff for the Universe 6 arc? I can't say that. We'll find out in about a month when we have more episodes. But there's no question that Resurrection F is being completely rushed. And it's kind of like, well, if you're going to rush it, why'd you even adapt it?
Exactly.
Like, honestly, that's how I feel.
And I have a video going up on Saturday where basically we tear up both of the arcs so far. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it. Just tune in on Saturday between me, Kagi, and Toasty, and we break down basically the report card for Dragon Ball Super thus far. But they should just skipped it, to be honest. Honestly, they should just pull the whole manga move like Torotaro did and just went over it, because we just got Resurrection F literally months ago, as opposed to Battle Gods, which we got 2 years ago. So it would make sense to skip that. But
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, think about it. You're working at Toei. I made a joke about it on Twitter. You're working at Toei. You just got done. Let's say you worked on Resurrection F the movie, and now, okay, well, we're going to do that again. So you're kind of like, as an animator, you're like, okay, well, we already did this. Like, as a creative mind, right? You're kind of like, we already did this. We spent all this money on it. We had Yamamuro directing it. And by the way, the last episode that Yamamuro did for Dragon Ball Super where he really was involved was episode 13. Go back and watch Super episode 13, which is the last Goku Beerus episode, I think it was. It was right before the last one.
Yep.
And the animation in that episode is just mind-blowingly good. And he hasn't been back to lead the team in a while. I wish he would, but Yamamuro, unlike some other guys, is very expensive. And that's the thing, is that what people don't know, and I'm going to tell you right now, is that Toei spends their budget on marketing more than animation. And that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. But there is no sense in complaining, because nothing can really be resolved.
Nothing's going to change. It will be the same. Like I said, every now and then you'll get the good episodes. Every now and then you get the average episodes. And every now and then you'll get the episode 5s. It's going to be part of the cycle. But again, this is not new. Anybody that says Dragon Ball Z,
inconsistent.
Anybody that says Dragon Ball Z had better animation clearly didn't watch the show. Like, I'm saying that right now. You clearly did not watch the show, because I'm rewatching Dragon Ball Z Kai right now. And I actually kind of myself forgot how spotty the animation was in the original series. And this is Dragon Ball Z Kai, which has been redone. It's been redone to be better, and there's still a lot of spots where it's up and down. I highly recommend a lot of you guys to go back and rewatch all of it from start to finish in Dragon Ball Z Kai.
And if you hit the pause button a few times, you'll pick up on these bad
You don't even have to pause it. Like, look, if people are seeking the in-between shots, you're gonna find in-between shots. You can post the screenshots as much as possible. All I will say is I've been watching this show, Dragon Ball Super, on a weekly basis, live, and I never see people post screenshots and like even saving, because like, for example, the big screenshot that everybody was passing around this past week, nobody mentioned that at all when the original episode aired. Because I remember usually like we have a good eye spotting, like, oh my god, that looks kind of bad, but no one has said anything about that until it was released the next day, until it was subbed, until somebody like basically dug through it and released it. Because like I say, in between shots you don't normally notice because they happen so fast. It's like 2 or 3 panels. And like I said, all it takes is one person to get that screenshot to circulate around, and then everybody's complaining about how awful the whole series is. Again, if you think Dragon Ball Super is awful, then just, I said it before, just stop watching it. That's all you can do at this point. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the Champa arc, and it may get better, who knows, but at the same time, it also may not. This is just something that you get with the Dragon Ball Z experience. DBZ was never amazing because the freaking animation was spot on. DBZ has always been an awesome series, or Dragon Ball, I should say, has always been an awesome series just because it's a lot of fun to watch. It's just epic. We love the characters. We've grown up with these characters. We've seen them go on these crazy adventures. We see them grow, and that's what makes Dragon Ball so special. It's not the animation. I never watched Dragon Ball because, oh wow, that looked really, really freaking cool. I watched it because it was just epic. Now I get it. A lot of people are just like, upset because this is basically their baby. Like, this is my baby. You're treating it wrong, Toei. You should do a lot more. We all agree. No one disagrees that, Toei should treat this like a more priority. But at the end of the day, One Piece is their cash cow. It's their baby right now. And even that, they treat like dirt. So it's like, it's just something you have to learn to accept. So, no. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say Toei is more about quantity than quality.
Yep.
However, I do feel that most of Super is good, but even though you have your video coming out Saturday, and I'm going to do one too, but probably later on, probably like a couple weeks when I get together with everybody and do like a scene-by-scene breakdown of the whole arc, I will say that the Resurrection F arc has been a huge letdown and a huge disappointment. It really has been. It's all. I really honestly feel that they should have just gone right to Universe 6, and I think most people will agree, and I really wonder, I honestly wonder, let me take that back. I really do wonder when they dub it, I wonder if they're going to actually do what they did with GT and skip the first 2 arcs and start with Champa, because I just have a weird feeling that the casual Dragon Ball fans, the ones that don't go to our channels, that just watched it on Toonami years ago, who don't even know that this show even exists, when it gets announced, they're going to see it and they're going to say, wait a minute, I already saw Battle of Gods. I already saw Resurrection F in theaters last year. Why would I see this again? And they're going to give up on the show without even knowing that there's a Champa arc. So if I were Funimation, I would take real consideration about skipping those 2 arcs and releasing them as the Dragon Ball Super Lost episodes. And I hate saying that. I hate saying it, but I worry that it's going to hurt Super's impact when it comes over here.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I feel like they might just release it in DVD volumes to start, because I don't see Super being that long as opposed to other people who think it's going to be very long. I feel like it's going to end after the Champa arc, but it's just my opinion. And I feel like once Funimation does get their hands on it, they'll probably just release it in DVD volumes a lot faster than sooner. Because I feel like we're not going to get Dragon Ball on TV like it was back in the 90s and the early 2000s. I feel like...
Well, Toei wants a TV deal.
Well, Toei does, I know. But like I'm talking about when Funimation gets it, I feel like we'll probably get a simulcast and a broadcast dub in the same time, I guess. But again, that's a discussion for later. That's a discussion for later. Really, what we're going to just discuss today is just, again, the whole animation thing, that it won't go to another company. It most likely isn't saving a budget for the future. It just will vary. It's just something you deal with as being a Dragon Ball fan, and it's just something you have to accept. If you don't accept it, then I guess you just clearly didn't watch Dragon Ball Z originally, or you just have this idea in your head that Dragon Ball Z is one thing when it's really not. Again, DB.
I want to ask you a question. You're not defending the animation, because some of it is indefensible. Just to make a point, and if I'm wrong, correct me. I feel like and I'm in the same boat. We're not defending the animation because there are some parts that are bad without question. It's just nothing can really change that. So and I'm not saying that we as fans should just eat it up and say, oh well, tough shit. We can criticize it. I think it's fair to criticize, but to complain and make petitions, it's just not going to accomplish anything. It's not. Nothing will change. So either watch it and accept that the animation's wonky and laugh at it. We can laugh at how we're ridiculous these shots look.
I think it's funny sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And hope for the best.
With me, it's not the whole series. It's just people are walking around like the whole series is absolutely awful, and it's just not true. Like I said, all it takes is that one in-between shot to ruin a whole episode for people, and that's what kind of bugs me. Like, everybody's ignoring the fact that episode 11 through 13 even happened. Like, I don't see anybody talk about how good it looked. It looked amazing.
Yeah,
it looked absolutely. That fight was incredible.
11 through 13. Yeah.
All I will say is, do this. Look up Goku versus Beerus, and you'll see a video. I'm not going to link it because I can't promote piracy, but I can tell you it exists. Look up Goku versus Beerus on YouTube. It's 55 minutes long, and watch that. And then think about what you're talking about in case you were the type of person who knocks the animation. Like I said,
I'm sure some of them will be like, well, it was good back then, but why can't it stay good? And like I said, the reason why,
that's the whole point.
Yeah, it's a weekly show. And I really don't like this. Everything everybody said about they should hire better animators, I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen, and we can't go over there and talk to them about it. We can't send them letters because it's a different country, a different culture. So just stop watching and wait for Champa. I mean, dude, K17, the biggest Dragon Ball fan I know, is not watching the adaptation episodes.
Yeah.
He's skipping to Champa. So, hey, if you want to do that, I would never stop somebody from doing it that way. In fact, when I go back and I rewatch the series for fun, I might just watch Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and then the Champa arc and just skip the first 27 episodes. There's nothing wrong with doing that because you have the option to do that.
And Toei's been around since 1956, which is a long time. So that shows you they're kind of old school. So, again, that's just something you have to deal with. So, I don't know. I mean, like I said, every single week will vary. So, you know, we'll get the good ones, we get the bad ones. This is just part of the experience. But for now, I don't know. I think we got our point across pretty validly. We're not defending it. We're just kind of like letting people know how it works, in case you guys don't know how it works. And this is how it works. But Geekdom, I think that's pretty much everything, right?
I can't think of anything else unless I missed something. There's more. I mean, there's more information out there. Like I said, you did a video about it. I did one too about the bad animation and how it works out there. Just never compare Toei to like Studio Ghibli or Madhouse or any of these other studios. It's just not like that. Toei is just, I don't really know. I was gonna say Disney, but Disney's actually kind of a higher quality and a much more successful and richer company, of course.
Yeah.
I just don't even know how to even compare Toei to anybody else. Just know that they, you know, these, just look at it from this perspective, okay? We may complain about Super's animation, but the people working on this show, some of them are having real money problems, and to me, that's kind of a little bit more like, okay, you know, 10,000 a year is not good money at all.
It's not even 10,000. It's like 9K a year. 9K a year.
Not good.
Okay, to those who are still young, $9,000 a year, that's not enough to do anything. That's not even enough to pay rent. I have no idea how they do it.
It's not. And that's what I'm saying. They have to work for all these different companies. It really is a hustle. It's like when you first start on YouTube and you're just nowhere. You know, that's a different topic. But nonetheless, it's the same thing. You have to work your way up. All these guys are hungry. They all want to work their way up. But in the meantime, Toei has to pay a lot less. And I'm sure, again, that these guys aren't that inclined to work as hard because they just did Resurrection F. It ain't like Battle of Gods, which was animated 3 years ago. Now it's, you know, we just did this, but hey, who knows, man? Just do whatever you want. I'm just saying there's no point in complaining every single week because it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
That's it.
With that said, this is my last time talking about animation. I'm going back to ignoring it again on Twitter. If you tweet it at me, I'll ignore it. I'll probably mute it if it keeps happening over time. But I'm kind of over it. I'm just going to enjoy the series on a weekly basis. I'm going to enjoy the Champa arc. If the episodes are good, then great. If the episodes are bad, then whatever. But I'm going to enjoy it as long as it's back, because Dragon Ball being back in 2016 and 2015 is awesome to me, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it while I can, no matter how the animation is. So that's the final word there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, and they will fix it for the Blu-ray, but they won't fix everything. They just won't. So, I mean, like we said in the other video that the four of us did, it was you, me, Jay, I think, and Mike. We're gonna reanalyze this in about 2 or 3 years and see. And the reality, and I hate to say this, I don't want to say it, but there's a possibility that we're gonna look at it as older men and think this thing wasn't as good as it could have been, and that might be the case. I want to be real about it.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. I mean, for all we know, bro, Universe 6 might blow us out of the water and just kick everybody's ass like Battle of Gods did a couple of years ago. I guess we'll find out.
Anyway, so let us know what you're thinking. Comments below. Check out Geekdom in the description as well. Leave a like rating below if you enjoyed today's video. And other than that, I guess we'll see all you amazing people in the comment section below.
Bye.